Hi there, welcome to Island Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Gemini energy, and we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because people have free will. Gemini energy is about our free will. We have the free will to grow and heal and mature ourselves, to operate from a foundation of love, learn lessons in life, treat other people the way we like to be treated, be just and fair, face our fears, overcome our insecurities, but some people, that's not their truth. And so, some people keep choosing in their free will to ignore love is the first card we start out with. So, the high vibe people are taking that cup of love to grow and heal and mature themselves, and the other people are ignoring that cup of love. It does require us that we maybe look at life differently, that we deal with some of our own issues, and, we have the free will to stay in denial of the truth, to not deal with the truth. High vibe people deal with the truth, and they know that love is the answer. Offer yourself love, give yourself the things you wish other people would have given you, treat other people the way you like to be treated, and if they don't know how to interact in relationships at that level of emotional maturity, you wish them peace, and you move on. And some of the more shadowy people don't like that because you are supposed to make your life maybe all about indulging them in their poor behavior. So everybody taps into Gemini energy. Could this be something particularly going on in the lives of people who are a Gemini sun sign or have significant Gemini placements? Sure. But it might affect them more, this particular situation, more than other people. But we all tap into Gemini energy, so in a way, it is something that we all deal with. So, I view this card as the overarching reason for the reading, which is Libra energy, represented by the scales of justice. We have conflict kind of between our mind and our heart. There's things we'd like to go do, or things that, pride comes before the fall, and we can think, no, I think this is a good idea. And we don't really maybe listen to our intuition or love because we want to go do what we want to go do. So, everybody's going to do what they think is just and fair at any stage of their life. We don't keep living our life like a 15-year-old because we don't keep looking at life like a 15-year-old. But if you do look at life like a 15-year-old would, and you have that kind of logic and reasoning, you're going to keep living your life like that, whether you're 45 or 15, right? So, some high vibe people are taking that cup of love and they're offering love to others because they've learned that love is like the highest energy of all, to try to bring justice and fairness and balance to a situation, and to heal from their own heartbreak, and for other people to heal from their own heartbreak. But we can offer people love and encouragement, but unless they take that love within themselves to invest in themselves and loving themselves and dealing with their some past pain and heartbreak, they just stay codependent on other people to love them. Some people look to get in relationships with people for them to play that role in their life. I want you to love me. I don't want to have to love me. This is my idea of the dream life. Just like other people could turn to drugs or alcohol or sex or gambling or some type of indulgence or money and materialism and status and image and power. If that's what they think will be the answer to their problems without them really having to learn to love themselves and heal from some of their past pain and heartbreak or self-limiting beliefs, they're going to keep living their life that way. That's kind of what they're going to keep feeding themselves. You either see love as the answer, or you keep thinking it's something else, or to get from someone else, or to take from someone else. Like other people have it and I don't have it. I don't understand why they have it and I don't have it. I'm going to try to get it, but I'm not going to do the work within myself. So I am someone who can put in work and effort to be in a certain energy, right? High vibe people offer love to their own worldly foundation. This is Cancer energy. This is Capricorn energy. Cancer and Capricorn are on opposite sides of the zodiac wheel. Let's see, what's on the opposite sign of Gemini? It is Sagittarius. Okay. Um, you know, Sagittarius, Gemini is air sign energy of the mind. Do we live more from our mind than our heart? Do we not take more creative, inspired action in our life, which is fire sign energy of Sagittarius? High vibe Sagittarius is about higher learning and education, right? Some people have dealt with people who did get more balance within themselves. We all have our worldly nature. The sun is like the strength card, Leo energy. We've all got our egoic nature. We've all got our emotionally intuitive, loving nature. Some people offered love. That's how we heal. We temper our ego. We could have looked to other people to play that role in our life, and it kept not kind of working out the way we wanted. And high vibe people realized, I need to love me. Because if I keep staying in more codependent energy, looking to people outside of me to love me or validate my worth and value, there's always going to be more shadowy people that want to take advantage of me being in that energy. Oh, you haven't learned to love yourself? Perfect. Yeah, you should get in a relationship with me. I will manipulate you and control you, and I'll keep trying to make you maybe not love yourself so that you keep indulging me in a relationship for my own motivations. Or I'm in that energy too, we should be in a relationship together. Neither one of us know how to love ourselves. Both of us are manipulated by our fear and our insecurity and our pride and our ego and our lust and our greed and our addictions. Let's stay in a relationship. And we've all come in contact with all these different types of people in the world, and it's all to help us get more clear and illuminated to what our truth is. The Nine of Swords is Gemini energy. Is this my truth? I took this job, I got in this friendship, I got in this relationship. I thought in the star Aquarius energy that this was going to be like a dream come true. This was the answer. I was going to be happy. Loving people offered love, to work together with people cooperatively, to be loving and encouraging, to try to bring that dream into reality. Being just and fair, trying to encourage other people to love and believe in themselves, to work through their fears and insecurities about love and why they let things from their past manipulate them or the world or their ego or their mind or, shadowy King of Wands can be these things that control us, things within ourself, our own ego nature, other people in our life, being in our ego about people in our past who didn't maybe work together with us cooperatively in love, who in their own way had their own issues that maybe made them a little bossy and controlling or manipulative or more about themselves. High vibe people offer love to themselves and look at life from a higher perspective, temper their ego. Everybody's got their issues. When we were children, the people we were growing up had been children and grew up and they had their own issues. Did they ever offer love to themselves to be a more loving, balanced, just, fair, tempered person? Or were they still manipulated by their issues? We either keep repeating the same pattern where we all stay in our ego about the fact that we've had people in our life who are unjust, unfair, unloving, egotistical, bossy, controlling, manipulative, or we say, you know what? There's always going to be people like that in the world. And there's always going to be people in the world that I wish loved me, that don't love me, that people who are more egotistical, people who love other people, just like there can be people who are kind of sad that maybe I didn't want to be more in a friendship or a relationship with them. It happens. We all know this. So we accept the truth of it. That, it's not all about us. We can want what we want. We can be in our ego about it. But not everything is going to work out the way we want. And not everybody we want to be friends and in a relationship with want to be friends and in a relationship with us, just like we don't with some of those people. And we're all going to meet people who are manipulated by whatever they're manipulated by that make them not a very just and fair and authentic and loving and warm person. Well, am I going to give up on my dreams just because there are people like that in the world? No, I'm going to temper my ego about the whole situation. There is all these people in the world. There are people in the world that don't want people to love and believe in themselves. They don't love and believe in themselves. They have their issues. They don't know how to be in high vibe energy. Some of them don't want you in high vibe energy. They don't want you to be free to go live your more authentic life, because then it causes them stress and anxiety about why they keep living their life the way they live it. Well, why'd you free yourself? How'd you work through that mental conflict? The Six of Swords moves away from the Five of Swords. I've had people in my life who had their issues, were stressed about love, tried to control people in relationships, or were more about themselves, and that was their biggest concern, was that people view them a certain way, or they have a certain status or image, or that people let them be controlling of them, you know? And I found it heartbreaking. But I did this work to look at life from a higher perspective. Everybody's got, in Gemini energy, free will. Everybody had the free will to offer love to all those things, to work through the mental conflict of it. The difference between the Nine of Swords going to the Six of Swords is the Three of Swords. And the difference from the Nine of Swords to the Three of Swords is the Six of Swords. And like the Star card, the Six of Swords is Aquarius energy. There are people in my life that I have been in workplaces, friendships, and relationships with that I wanted to have a dream come into reality with. That's kind of what the Aquarius star can be about. I thought we were all on the same page. I thought we were all motivated by love to work together and be authentic and loving and warm and encouraging. Why did some people try to control me? Why were some people more about themselves? Why were some people hurtful and unkind? Why were some people manipulative? Why were some people so caught up in making these other things of the world that they wanted to indulge in or make their life about to feel better or make more important in their life than love? Well, I really don't have to figure it out. I can, they're the ones who have to figure it out. I just have to see the truth of it, because the truth will set me free. Everybody has their idea of what it means to live the dream life. And that can be the most important thing. It isn't love, it's status and ego and image, or it's me being able to indulge in these things, or it's not about hope and faith and belief in love, it's just about me. And people are supposed to love me. So we work through that, and we're inspired not to be all up in our head about it. If there's a maximum of 10 in every suit, and at 9, it's that last sword of truth, which can be, did they love me? Didn't they love me? Do I love them? Don't I love them? What does love mean? And love ultimately would be that I accept everyone has free will. I accept the truth that everyone has their own things that drive and motivate them that a lot of us can't understand, because that's not how we think and how we feel and how we view life and what we think is just and fair. But the whole thing is, by having all these different people in the world that are living life in all these different phases of life, of emotional maturity and all that, we get to look at all these different people in the world and choose who we want to invest our time, energy, and effort into. And hopefully eventually see the truth that there are people that are more aligned with their more worldly, shadowy way of being. They could be in our friend group, in our family group, in our workplace. Some of those people we have to move forward with and kind of work with them regardless. Other people, we can make the free will choice to distance ourselves from them. Why would we choose to keep investing our time, energy, and effort into people who've already shown us that being more just and fair and loving and authentic and encouraging and hopeful and believing, making their life more than about just themselves and the ego and the image or whatever, that if they haven't been illuminated to the truth of that, that's just not how they view life. And they're still caught up maybe more in the illusion of the world. Or maybe they're very defensive to love. If you do love, you could run a risk of getting hurt. You'd have to temper your ego and your defensive nature to do love. And some people are unwilling to do that. No, I get hurt doing that, so I'm not doing it. So I might use my emotions and my words and my charm and my looks and my money and everything I got in order to create an illusion I'm motivated and inspired by love, so people will move forward with me in a relationship. But the truth is, I do align with my more defensive nature, egoic nature, self nature, immature nature, materialistic nature. Something else is really the driving factor, and not being open to love. And our dream can't come into reality with them being in that energy. And until they do this work within themselves to work through why they choose that in their free will, they're probably going to keep choosing it. Now, the more they have people in their life who kind of distance themselves from them, that were people who were loving and encouraging and supportive, who tempered their ego to work with them in a more just and fair, temper kind of your dreams to work with them to try to get them to love and believe in themselves. The more they have loving people who were authentic and loving, who wanted a dream to come into reality with them, but they kept like, nope, we got to do it this way. Nope, I'm not doing that. And eventually the loving people move on. It's the same way if we were more immature in some way, and we keep having people we get in friend groups with kind of keep distancing themselves from us. We can keep wanting to stay in denial of it. We can go repeat pattern, go try to find new people that are kind of set on the same immaturity level that we're at. But eventually some of those people might get out of their more immature ways of living life or viewing life, and those people move on. At what time are we going to be willing to deal with the truth that if I keep trying to move forward with my truth, there's going to be other people that are going to be like, sorry, yeah, you can keep moving forward in that truth if you want, but I'm not. And, you go find someone else. At what point are we willing to see that maybe I'm not very loving. Maybe I don't work cooperatively with people. Maybe I'm kind of two cards of kind of being bossy or controlling or egotistical or kind of full of myself. For some reason, I could keep thinking people will just kind of keep indulging me in a relationship out of their own, I don't know, fear or insecurity, of finding a new friend, going and getting a different job, getting in a different relationship. In shadowy energy, we're either high vibe energy is being the sun, and Leo energy is about being authentically who you say you are. And if that's kind of a more balanced, just and fair person, I have learned lessons in life about offering love to people, working together with people cooperatively, being authentic and loving and encouraging. I know they have their own dreams and motivations and aspirations and their own unique talent, skills, and interests. I have mine. We can still work together. The way I kind of view the star and high vibe is that we all have this common goal and we're all working together. Everyone kind of putting aside tempering their more egoic nature of being just more about themselves for that common goal. And can I respect all these different people as being their own unique individual? But together, we still stay focused on that common goal. But other people can be like, well, no, I want it to be more about me. And all of you people should put aside your pride and ego and work together cooperatively like I am the core foundation. Well, what foundation do they operate from? I mean, if you're operating from love, then you're not operating from your ego, and love and working cooperatively from love is, and everybody is in the energy of being motivated and inspired to build a foundation that's just and fair and authentic and truthful and loving and equal give and take. But some people, that's not the foundation. They operate more Aries energy down here, which anyone can harness, is that they're just more about themselves and in their ego. And they do think it should be more about them, that what they bring to the table is more important than what other people bring to the table. You're like benefiting from being in a relationship with them, maybe because of, well, it could be money, it could be status, it could be image, it could be power. You know, people could look like, I have justice in the world. I have some of these things that people in the world want. And if you're not willing to indulge me in my more immature or bossy or controlling or manipulative ways of being, there'll be someone else who is. You can leave. I'll go find someone else to go have a new beginning with. There's always going to be shadowy people who want to try to take advantage of loving people. You're a loving person. You'll put a lot of work and effort to try to make a relationship work, to try to maintain balance in a relationship, to help me work through my fears and my insecurities. And how about you put in all that work and effort and you keep doing that, and while you're doing that, I'll keep indulging myself in this relationship until you see the truth that that isn't my truth. But until you see the truth, I'll indulge in this relationship for as long as it lasts, as long as it's good for my ego and my image, and you're being loving and encouraging and supportive. Some people are working on their next victim right now. And some of the high vibe people in their life are kind of stressed out because they do want the dream to come into reality. They want it to move forward. They actually do emotionally invest in people. And they'd really like it to work. But they've been being loving and encouraging to people. And it keeps not moving forward. And they're kind of stressed and heartbroken about it. And you can stay in that energy for a long time, you know, in a workplace, a friendship, other relationship. Well, who likes staying unloved in a workplace or relationship? You can have all the hope and faith and belief you want, but the other people have to work with you cooperatively to bring that dream into reality. You can't do it all on your own. If you want to be in authentic, warm, and loving relationships, you need to be in relationships with people who are authentically warm and loving. You can provide a lot of that to bring that energy into the relationship. Just like a creative, inspired person at work can be like that. But if everybody else is like, oh, I don't think that'll ever work, and oh, you know, we should just keep doing what we've been doing, you know, that person can't do everything. Other people have to work with them to try to bring that dream into reality and have some more hope and faith and belief. And if some of the people in their life don't seem to have that energy about them, the people that are more high vibe energy are like, shit, if I move away from these people or I let those people go, is someone else going to apply for this job? Am I going to find someone else to be friends with or date? Well, I'd rather go on this journey of, because I've already seen the truth of this. This isn't working out the way I thought. And I have to deal with the truth of it. If they were motivated and inspired to be that type of person, they probably would have been motivated and inspired to be that type of person already. How long do we wait for other people to love themselves, to work through their fears and insecurities? And some of them never planned to do that, because that was never their plan to do that from the beginning. I'm just looking for someone like you to be loving and encouraging and let me move forward with you. I stay the way I am, you be loving and encouraging or hopeful and believing, and you let me work with you. You know, if we want a dream to come into reality in the Six of Swords, we need two people that are the Three of Swords. Before the Three of Swords is the Two of Swords. We have our dualistic nature. Which way am I going to live my life? What is my truth? Trying to move forward it doesn't move forward because it's a mismatched truth. The way they want to move forward is kind of like they want to go this direction and you want to go that direction. You have to have the same truth, the same dream, the same motivations, the same kind of aspirations. That is it going to be about love? Is that the foundation and the truth? Or is it the fear, the insecurity, the codependency, the lust, the greed, the whatever? Or more about you? And I have to give up my dreams, and then it's kind of more like you haven't healed, you're in the Four of Swords, and I stay in denial of the truth in the Two of Swords, and we move forward in the Six of Swords with me staying in denial of the truth that you haven't healed yet, and you may never heal. And you might keep taking action more out of your fear, your insecurity, your pride, your ego, being bossy, being controlling, being manipulative, being unjust, unfair, unloving. And some people get to be where it's like, I can't keep moving forward like that. Why would I? And then they work through their own fears because we can't change other people. The only person I can change is me. So I decide to love me and give myself the things that I wish other people would have given me, and to look at life from a higher perspective and really think about what my truth is and my truth isn't. And again, we come in contact with all these different people to see if their truth is the same as like our truth. And it's to help us get more clear about what our truth is and our truth isn't. And for a long time, we can want to stay in denial of the truth because we don't want to take that action. And some people could be at that phase in the story with some people in their life. Other people, at least with some people in their life, they could have, no, your way of your idea of the dream life is different than my idea of the dream life. This is not my truth. I am inspired to stand up. With the Three of Swords being Libra energy, also represented by the King of Swords, I am willing to speak my truth and stand up for what I think is just and fair. You have a different idea of what you think is just and fair that you defend, and a house divided can't stand. I'm going to move on with my truth, and you can keep moving forward with your truth, but you're just going to have to do it with someone else. I wish you peace. But I have a dream, and apparently my dream is different than your dream. So I'm going to temper my ego about it. I can't change people. And I accept that they have free will to live their life the way they want it. And that's probably how they're going to go live their life. And as I move forward, believing in myself, believing in my dreams, I'm going to continue to offer love to the people in my life who I think are more authentic, more inspired by more than just themselves and the ego and the image or the indulgence, who are more aligned with their loving nature, who are more inspired to be more just and fair in a relationship. And I'm going to offer them a cup of love to see if we're on the same page and they want to move forward with me in that way. Some of those people could be stressed because, you know, they again have people in their life that they kind of work with and align with. And what if they move forward in life differently? Will some of those people turn their back to them? Will some of those people be heartbroken and hurt? You know, life is about making these decisions. Gemini energy, I have to make a decision. Aries is about making a decision. What is my truth? Am I in relationships with people who are loving and encouraging and authentic and supportive? Am I in relationships being that type of person? If the people I'm in a relationship aren't, why do I stay in a relationship with them? If I'm kind of indulging someone, why am I indulging them? Why don't I love and believe in myself and believe in my dreams? Do I want to keep living a life where I feel heartbroken? Where I keep trying to change other people? Again, the whole thing is like there's all these people in the world, and there's people in the world who we could be in long-term relationships with. We could have a lot of things in common. A lot of things we enjoy about each other, could love each other. But they align with our more shadowy nature of fear or insecurity or codependency or making our life more about the world. And there's other people in the world who we could or could not be in relationship with who really align with that we could be in long-term relationships, and they do align with our more hopeful, believing, loving nature. And there can come a time in our life where we have to decide, am I going to keep moving forward with the people I'm with, even though I see their truth isn't my truth? Am I willing to take this time to regroup and say, you know what, you go on ahead, and I'm going to take this time to think about more about what my truth is. I'm not sure that's my truth. Could we have loving people who love us, but it's not really our truth? Could they be loving and encouraging, supportive people? Yeah, but maybe they are a little manipulative. Maybe they are a little controlling. Maybe they are a little bit more about caught up in the making it and staying in it more for the world and the ego and the image and look how wonderful our life will look. But it's like, is it love? Is it, you can be a loving person, but, am I in it more for love, or is it more for those things, And everybody's got to ask themselves that thing. Other people there could have been people from their past that they always wanted to, maybe are sad that a relationship hadn't worked out with them. Well, that relationship didn't work out. They move forward in life. If they're in new relationships, we can be sad. The Four of Cups can be kind of like a missed opportunity. But are the people that we're currently in relationship with loving and encouraging and supportive? And we have to work through, why does this still bother me? And it could be because we're still kind of in our ego about it. But is that why we'd want to get in a relationship with one person and reject another person? Well, I'm just still kind of a little bit my ego. I always wanted that person to love me or appreciate me or see the truth of me. Are we going to backstab maybe? We're not quite there yet, but to finish out a cycle, it would be, what is that final truth? Are we going to reject some loving and encouraging people because we're kind of more, and we got to work through that. There are going to be some missed opportunities in life, and there's going to be some people in our life when we had an opportunity to move forward with them in a more just and fair and loving way. We weren't ready. They weren't ready. We all had to go on our separate journeys of learning lessons in life. Can some people come back together again? Sure. If they, again, we all have to be on the same page at the same time. Sometimes one person wanted to move forward to bring a dream into reality, just like some people right now. And the other person was like, I'm not sure that I'm ready to bring that dream into reality because I kind of thought, I was going to kind of focus on these other things, or, I wasn't ready to bring a dream into reality where I had to kind of temper being a little bit more about myself. And so then they weren't on the same page. At some future point in time, could they be? If we keep indulging people when we're mismatched, can we wish people peace and love and joy? And it's like, I just don't think we're on the same page right now. Maybe at some future date we will. I have nothing but love for you. But it seems like we want to go in different directions, and then people go on their own journeys and get in other relationships, other life experiences, move to the big town or the small town, or, whatever some of these differences were that people could have had. And maybe at some future point in time, again, when other things don't work out, sometimes people reach back to some other people. It's like, I think I had some growing up and maturing to do. Where are you at in your life? This is where I'm at. Are we on the same page now? And some of those people can still be kind of stressed out because, like, and high vibe people just keep accepting the truth. All I can do, I'm not in my ego to admit that I had lessons learned in life, and I could have not gotten in certain friendships or relationships with people and gotten out of them. High vibe people just aren't in their ego. They're willing to reach out to people, reveal the truth, maybe tell them some lessons that they learned and some experiences they went through, and help them get more clear about their truth, and they're moving forward in this new way, and offering love to people if they want to come with, if their dream is that dream. And if some of those people say no, it's like, okay, I'm not gonna keep it making me stuck in heartbreak. My dream can only, I think the divine wants my dreams to come into reality, but I have to be willing to get out of my ego. I don't control things and I don't control people, and it's not all about me. Everybody's on their own journeys of learning lessons in life, that I believe the divine has a plan for my life to get me in relationships with people who are the right people for me, but I have to temper my ego. And the people in my life who are on that same page are the people who will keep moving forward with me in that way. At different times, could we all be tempted to kind of be a little bit more about ourselves? Because as time goes by, we could kind of feel like things are kind of requiring us to step out of our comfort zone a little bit in just how we live life, how we view life. And so then we could kind of be tempted like, I don't know, I think you kind of view life a little differently than me. I think I'll let you go. But then it's kind of like, why, if that person isn't trying to manipulate and control me, they're not trying to make me look at life the way they look at it, but they love me and want me to be in their life, and they're not trying to manipulate and control me, why can't I let them have their way of viewing life? It's kind of like, people don't maybe have the same way of viewing life. Like, people could be from different religions, but can I let you have a different religion? Or, the big hoopla is politics. Can't I let you have your political ideology? If I think you're motivated and inspired by love, and I don't think you're trying to manipulate and force your opinion on other people, but because we love each other, that is more the common goal. And so I don't have to live life the way you live it. I don't have to view life the way you view it. But if we're both people who are inspired by just and fair and authentic and balanced and loving relationships, and we let each other live their truth, so long as, again, from a foundation of love, we don't have to be the same. We just have to be operating from a foundation of love. There could be some people kind of stressed out right now. Shadowy people do try to manipulate people to get them to do what they want, try to control people, use the love that people have for them. They reject their love, hoping those people will be heartbroken, and kind of get in their ego that these people aren't working cooperatively with them. And then they hope, because those people, the loving people, want this dream to come into reality, and they're so stressed about moving away from them and detaching from them, that they'll kind of indulge them in their ego. And they're like, that's just what I wanted. And people can do that with a lot of different people in their life. And it's kind of like practice in your life that, when I have people in my life, can I be loving and encouraging, temper my ego? I don't want to take action more out of ego or fear or whatever. But if I see the truth that I've been authentic and loving and encouraging, and repeatedly over and over and over again, I keep seeing that they keep choosing to take action more out of ego, not being just and fair, not being loving, eventually it gets easier and easier for the high vibe people to just distance themselves from those people. It's like, you know what? I'm not going to... I don't like people trying to manipulate my loving nature. People who love me wouldn't want to manipulate me. They wouldn't want me to be sad and heartbroken. Who that loves you wants you to be in that energy while they're working together with you in a relationship to try to bring a dream into reality, unless that is the energy they want you to be in, because that's their idea of the dream relationship, because then it's more about them and they can manipulate you and control you. And some high vibe people have seen my dream can't come into reality with someone because we harness our Aries energy different, and our Gemini energy different, and our Libra and our Cancer and our Capricorn different. And so some of those people are moving on. I wish you peace, but I have a dream and I'm inspired to not repeat this old pattern. The other people don't want to take inspired action to do life differently. And the high vibe people do. And the other people want to repeat this old pattern. And if they can find someone who is willing to move forward with them in that way, or keep hoping one day they'll change, well, then that's their free will choice. And they're going to learn their own life lessons. So some stories in here. Cancer and a Capricorn could have been illuminated to the truth. Well, the whole thing is, it's interesting. This comes up sometimes. There's people who have aligned with their more loving nature, and there is people who are more aligned with their more worldly nature. And then there's people who are stressed about figuring out their truth, and they always stay stuck. They get in relationships with people who are more aligned with their loving nature, and that requires them, though, to kind of temper their more worldly, egoic nature to be more just and fair and maintain balance within themselves. And then they kind of don't like that, and then they want to go align with people who are more about the world. Those people want to live their life being more about themselves or the ego or the image or whatever, and caught up in the things of the world, and that's their truth. And then they go get in a relationship with them, and that can be Libra energy, which probably, it's kind of like where you can't decide and you don't really want to maybe make a decision, or you're just unwilling to make a decision or pick a path. But I suppose anybody in their Libra energy of self could be in that energy. Well, the problem is other people have picked a path, and then there's the people that are kind of going back and forth like, oh God, I don't know. If I make my life about this, I feel like I'm missing an opportunity in love. If I move forward with the loving people, does it seem kind of like a dream come true? Yeah, but I might not have all the status and the image, or I might not have someone who indulges me in a relationship, and I kind of like to be indulged in a relationship. So then, because, I don't know, these dreams that they had that really kind of, though, could have been more about them. It's like, I want this and I want that. And, that's like when shadowy people try to trap a loving person in a relationship with them. And the loving people move on. And then they thought, well, I'll just be happy making my life, because I don't really kind of more authentically, emotionally invest in people. I'll just go get in a relationship with someone and make it more about the status or the ego or the image or whatever. And that's great, because I might look like I have more status and image and power or whatever than I would have in the more loving relationship. But then they're kind of stressed because, I don't know, they're neither one of them, if they get in relationships with other people who are more about themselves for the world, neither one of them are people who really are inspired by love. So then it's kind of being in a relationship where you could feel unloved and kind of heartbroken, but you're still tempted by it to stay in it more because of your ego. But if some of these people can't decide what they want to do, they have different people that they could be in a relationship with that have moved on with people who are more on the same page as them. And then they're like, I still can't decide what I want to do. It's like, well, That's too bad for them, I guess. And until they work through it and try to figure out more what their truth is and what they value, is it more them being about themselves or the ego and the image, or is it love? They're going to keep probably going back and forth. High vibe people have been illuminated to the truth, and they're taking action on their truth. And if other people, their intuition tells them they're not being authentic or truthful, that it could be more out of fear, insecurity, or heartbreak, then they're not going to keep moving forward with those people. The Two of Wands, why? Because of the Empress and the Nine of Swords. So the Empress in Libra Taurus energy, and that being a feminine figure, just can represent how we think and feel. High vibe people harness high vibe Empress energy. I am going to offer love to myself, to believe in myself and believe in my dreams. I'm going to work through my fears of letting go of some old ways of being and people in my life. To wish them peace, I accept that their truth is different than my truth. I am going to let go of that old dream and go take action to bring my dream into reality. And you did that by offering love to all your fears and insecurities about taking that action in your truth and not staying stuck in two minds about other people. If people were motivated and inspired to work together with you in this way, being just and fair and authentic and loving, they would be. And some people would like to move forward with you, but they're more about their ego and they don't want to illuminate the truth. Or they're in relationships with other people and they're unwilling to get out of it, if that's the case, or have other people in their life that they're more aligned with or codependent on. So you believe that the divine has a plan for your life. You are ready to give birth to something new. And you offered love to all your fears and insecurities to see the truth. I have a dream. I want to move forward in this energy. I can only have that dream come into reality with other people who are in that energy. And some other people in my life aren't in that energy. The people in my life who are, I'm going to keep moving forward with them in that way. And I will meet more people who are in that energy, because I won't be spending my time focused on people in my life who aren't in that energy. I'm going to invest my time, energy, and effort into the people in my life who are moving forward in this type of energy. More balanced, more authentic, more just, more fair, more loving. Not manipulative, not bossy and controlling. Those are the people I can have my dream come into reality with and work with and enjoy as I am trying to bring other aspects of my dream into reality. So some people harness their fire sign and Gemini energy in a different way than you. You're more inspired to be in more balanced relationships, with the primary underlying factor being like truth and love and justice and fairness. And some of the other people in your life, they're not. And you, out of love for yourself, to get the justice you deserve, you temper your ego to believe in yourself and face your fears that the divine must have another plan for your life. And there's other people like you that have moved on like this in life and are moving on in life like this, who also dream of being in relationships with people in this energy. And as you keep moving forward, not continuing to invest your time, energy in this old way of being and people, you'll come across their path. You're kind of looking out for people like that. They're kind of looking out for people like that. But the divine needs you to temper your ego and offer love keep offering love to yourself, keep moving forward. You know, it's like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, but you keep moving forward, where some other people just give up and they go repeat an old pattern, maybe just to feel better. And that's kind of giving into our more shadowy nature. Well, there's someone else here that's maybe willing to be in a relationship with me. It would look good by worldly standards. I might not love them. They might not love me. We both might be stressed about taking more bold, brave, creative action in our life. We both might be heartbroken. But we're not willing to do this work within ourselves to free ourselves. High vibe energy is being free from an old way of viewing life or living life or past pain and heartbreak or self-limiting beliefs. And some people aren't there yet. So what's coming up? 2 for people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Gemini energy, the 3 of Cups in reverse. Why? Because of the King of Swords. More manipulative, shadowy, immature, bossy, controlling people, whatever their issue is. They always have people in their life who are more loving and encouraging, who would like them to move forward with them, again, in a more just and fair and authentic and loving way. And what they don't see coming is that some of the people in their life are going to stand up for what they think is just and fair and not let these people keep being unjust, unfair, unloving, egotistical, bossy, controlling. And because of that, some of the high vibe people in their life in the 3 of Cups don't want to work together with them anymore. From a foundation of love. Can I know you as a social acquaintance? Yeah. Do I want to work together with you to bring a dream into reality? No. Because I've seen the truth that your truth is different than my truth. They reject, the shadowy people reject operating from a foundation of love and live more from their mind than their heart. The other people aren't manipulated by their more worldly, egoic, defensive nature, and they defend truth and love. And they're going to have more people who distance themselves maybe from them if they keep acting this way. You know, it's one thing to indulge people in poor behavior, the younger they are, right? And the younger we are, and the more naive and gullible that we are. But as everybody grows up and learns lessons in life, the people who keep not wanting to grow up and mature themselves and keep kind of acting in these more manipulative or arrogant or bossy or egotistical or whatever ways of being, more of the people in their life that at one time used to be willing to work together with them kind of distance themselves from them because they keep unwilling to see the truth, that it's not just all about them, and other people aren't going to keep indulging them in their poor behavior. And the people who eventually they might end up staying in a relationship with, and that will stay in a relationship with them, are other people who live more from their mind than their heart. This makes logical, practical sense. If I were to work with you, I get to have a new job, be in a new friendship, be in a new relationship. It would look good for my ego and my image. Maybe I wouldn't be as stressed out anymore about trying to get a new job, a new friend, a new relationship. Yeah, this makes logical, practical sense. I'll keep moving forward with you. But it's not because of love and hope and faith and belief in their dreams. It's like, more like, well, this looks good. This will work. Yeah, I'll do this. And that's when some people who thought, oh no, making my life all about these things or having a certain status or image or power in the world, and maybe if I worked with this person, I would have that, or they have some traits or characteristics or whatever, or financial that contributes all to that. I think shadowy people are always stressed in a relationship because they know they're kind of creating an illusion and trying to manipulate and control people to get them to view them a certain way. And for those people to stay in the relationship with them because they're so worried about their ego and their image and how people view them. But they're always stressed out that the people they're in a relationship with, some people purposely go look for people who they know are sad and then try to get them in a relationship with them like, I am the answer to all your problems. You should move forward with me. You should date me. You should marry me. But the shadowy people, some of them know the truth that some of those people could be motivated by love and they know they're not. And they're always afraid that the more loving people will work through some of their issues and eventually see the truth that these people aren't really motivated by love, that it is more the ego and the image as to why they get in it, or the self-indulgence of why they stay in it. And it's never going to be a more just and fair and authentic and loving relationship. And then those people are going to leave. And then if there is more shadowy people they'd like to be in a relationship, the problem is for shadowy people to get out of their ego to give of themselves. And maybe some of the people they want to be in a relationship with would have to kind of grow up some, temper their ego a little bit. And like these shadowy people, the shadowy people, they might want to be in a relationship. Like, oh my God, if I could get in a relationship with you, that would be like a dream come true. I would look like I have the status, this image, this power. But I'd have to, you'd have to, it can always be one person in a shadowy relationship. Someone wants to control and manipulate the other and be the boss. And there can be someone they want to be in a relationship with, but that person likes to be the more bossy, controlling person. And then it's kind of like a battle of, is someone willing to temper their ego to be willing to let the other person more be the boss? And then it can be, well, who has more of what someone else wants? Do I think I have more status, image, and power? Do I think I have other options available to me or not? Do I feel like you have, more options than I have? So, but for some of them, they don't see the truth that some of the people in their life who would maybe be kind of a good match for them in a shadowy kind of way, but those people, they don't want to see the truth that those people view themselves more like the boss. And if this person wasn't willing to more indulge them. So see, some shadowy people, when they're in a relationship with loving people, you definitely should defer to them. They think that's just and fair because they might have more of these things of the world. And they think that if they were to get in a relationship with someone that had more of those things of the world, that they would be willing to temper their ego. But then they could get in it, and they could have had a dream come into reality if they'd been willing to do that. But they really were stressed out about kind of tempering their ego and kind of indulging someone else. And they could have thought they were more willing to do that, but they weren't. So it's still to go on the hunt to find someone who is kind of aligned with their more worldly view of life, but is willing to defer to these more shadowy people. And some of the people in their life are like, no, I'm not willing to do it. And maybe because they never did, they wanted a more just and fair and balanced, loving relationship. And then they got to go try to find someone else and start this all over again. Who is the next person I can manipulate? And the high vibe people are like, I'm not going to be trying to change anybody or manipulate anyone. I'm going to go live my authentic life and trust, instead of trying to force things to go in my favor, I'm assuming things will just work out in my favor because I'm kind of in flow with the universe of just going with the flow. And I'm not trying to manipulate or control people. And I think the people who do try to manipulate and control people are always really stressed out because they are trying to manipulate and control people. Why not just work together with people cooperatively in love? No, that's too dangerous. I get hurt. So then they think, I'm in relationships with people who could be loving and nurturing, but I keep making this decision when I get up in my head to try to control and manipulate them. And it's the very thing that makes people leave them, and they don't want to see the truth of it. And it keeps happening over and over and over. What is that? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different outcome. At least high vibe people are offering love and truth. And, you know, if they keep meeting shadowy people, it's like, oh, well, I learned lessons from that life experience, but I'm not willing to give up love to settle for the illusion. And other people are willing to give up love to settle for the illusion, because that's more important than love anyway. So there you go, Gemini. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.